Esther David, born on 17th March 1945, is an Indian Jewish author, an artist, and a sculptor. She was born into a Beni Israel Jewish family in Ahmedabad, Gujarat. Her father, Reuben David, was a hunter turned veterinarian who founded the Kamla Nehru Zoological Garden and Balvatika near Kankaria Lake in Ahmedabad. Her mother, Sarah, was a school teacher. After her schooling in Ahmedabad, she was at Maharaja Sayajirao University of Baroda as a student of fine arts and art history. There she met Shankar Chaudhary, a sculptor, who taught her sculpture and art history. After her graduation, she returned to Ahmedabad and started a career as a professor in art history and art appreciation. She taught at the Sheth Chimanlal Nagindas Fine Arts College, CEPT University, and NIFT. She started writing about art and became the Times of India art critic, a national English daily. Later, she became a columnist for Femina, a women's magazine, the Times of India, and other leading national dailies. She is an advisory editor of Eve's Times, Ahmedabad. Esther has written several books. Her books are related to Beni Israel Jews in Ahmedabad. Esther has received many awards and recognition for her wonderful work in writing. She won the Sahitya Academy Award in 2010 for the Book of Rachel. Welcome to Pratibimb, a reflection of an artist. This initiative, in fact, is of JG College of Performing Arts. And the reason why we're doing this is that the younger generation which is coming in today, I have noticed that a lot of them come without much of a background in the field of art. And though I'm a dancer, I feel that any artist, whether you're a dancer or a theatre person or a music person or a visual artist, you should know about all the fields because they're all interrelated. So I cannot say I'm a dancer, I will only look at a dancer or speak to only a dancer. So this whole episodes that I'm taking is from various people from all the genres of art. So it could be visual artists, dancers, theatre people, music people. You are a successful, internationally renowned author. As a child, was that your ambition and dream?
Vijay, it so happens that I don't think so. Because considering I've always, a lot of people wonder as to how I came into this field because as I was basically trained in the arts, fine arts.
Yes.
And I have been a professor also in the art world, which I'm still continuing sometimes off and on. But basically, nobody realized and nobody knew. Suddenly, I was on the scene as an author. But basically, it is. I just want to make a comment that when I was growing up, the whole education system was such that it was assumed that if you are not good at this, or you're not good at that, or you're not good at that, you're not excelling at anything, you're just an ordinary student, or you're not a slow student, or slow learner.
You're being judged already at that.
Already.
Yes.
So you may be good for the arts. So that's how it was a general yardstick for all students. It was all based on this. So what happened? There was no exploration as to who you are and what you are.
Correct.
And what you could be. And in those days also, today I think the young people have more scope to talk and express about their lives and their desires and their aspirations and their ambitions and everything. But
and they're more vocal about it.
More vocal about
Yes.
it. But today, in those days, we sort of went with the stream that no, we didn't say anything.
Lot of it was being decided and set for
Already
you.
it was set
Yeah.
that this is the frame, and in that you have to put your photograph. Right.
Right.
So what happened that yes, for a long time I was in the art scene, and as you know that I spread out a lot, not only in sculpture but say artistry, art appreciation. And I was actually, since Baroda Fine Arts, I was more interested in what you call subjects based on theory.
Right.
I like to read, I like to write, and things like that. I was very lucky.
So you wanted to go into the depth of every art form and then actually understand
the
history and everything behind it.
So it was very interesting that when everybody else was doing something else, I was all the time in the library.
Oh.
But yes, all the time. Or I was carrying all big books around and everything, and it was like a joke. But basically, I think I'm very lucky that what you said in the beginning, that the whole area of the art scene is sort of an area where all the creative fields are in product.
Yes.
And then it's like some sort of a beehive from which you have to take. And a lot of different things come together there. But you don't know it because you're too young at that point.
Yes.
But you have to learn to take it. But I did not join sculpture because I wanted to learn sculpture. Basically, it was not the thing at all. But there was in those days a sort of criteria that somebody high up decided that this group goes into painting, this group goes into sculpture, this group goes into advertising, this goes into graphics, this group goes into this. So and those days there were no teachers. Well, it was 5 teachers. Which are gurus.
Absolutely, I think you had some of the best.
I was part of the era where we had the best and the greatest gurus in India post-independence with us. So what happened that was not very much in my mind that I wanted to be a painter, but it was not. The whole system was very strict. Secondly, as I told you, that teacher thing was very problematic, and then suddenly I noticed that while I was very disappointed that I could not go into painting, I just idea about women creator like Amrita Share. And actually in our house, my father already had a very large collection of all sorts of everything, antiques and things. So already there was a background.
Yes.
Now what happened when suddenly, while this decision was being taken, in walks a professor in this place where this decision is taken that I cannot join painting. So, and he was looking for sort of a smoke. I am smoking, which is
That's okay, we're talking about a period where it still is not so.
Yeah. So he was looking for matches for his smoke. And he looked like a sparrow, tall, thin sparrow, very eccentric, and had a habit of suddenly laughing and suddenly smiling and suddenly talking. Actually, at that moment he was very silent because all he wanted was the script. And my drawings were all spread out of the studio. And he said, "Whose work is this?" So I went in behind the door. I said, "I can't possibly." And everybody had told me, he is Rabindranath Tagore's student. So I was like already a Rabindranath Tagore fan. So I said, "My God,
what am I getting into?"
And I said, Rabindranath Tagore means if you can get even closer to somebody like that, you're hallowed,
Yeah.
So I was in awe of this person, this great guru who had walked in. I didn't even know his name at that time. His name was Shankar Chaudhary.
Wow.
And one of the greatest sculptors, one of the greatest artists of India. He had started many movements in Japan, in Bhopal, and then he was Delhi, chairperson, everything all over India. One of the biggest. Not only sculpture, that's what I mean.
Yes.
So, who's doing this? And And then I sort of, then somebody said that behind the door. I just started crying. I said, God knows what he's going to scold me, because we were brought up in that way that it's good. Eventually he said, this is very interesting. Then he said, come here. Want to drink tea? And
You about that, really?
yeah. And he said, collect your drugs, come. So he took me into the studio where his class was. And he made a service tea for me.
Okay.
Until then, I didn't even know how to start the petrol. I mean, this sort of stove, kerosene stove.
Kerosene stove.
And he made a service tea. We sat outside the studio in the parapet. You want to become an artist now? You become an artist. I will make you an artist.
Forget about in which department you
What, where?
Just place yourself.
You just. So then that's how I just, without thinking, what is my future, what I'm going to be, anything.
So it means that, see, him being who he is.
So you see, I believe very strongly that everybody must have a guru.
Mentor, yes.
A guru. Guru, without guru, you can't.
Absolutely. See, also somebody like him who just happens to be there at that moment.
Yes.
And then he catches his eye, which means that there was already something in you which he noticed at that time, and he realized, okay, what she needs, like you said, is a guru who can guide her to come out of this. Very true. I mean,
because at that point, what you said, I will just come to his words. The creativity is going to many doors. Once you are inside, you open whichever door you like, and enter it.
absolutely.
So that's how I had no idea. Much later, when I was art critic, and for that also, I don't mind saying that your father, Mr. Shivram, it was so strange that I wanted to write. Now, I was in the art field. Who's going to give me anything to write? So, little things and some editing. Yes, I was gold medalist and all that. Now, he gave me a challenge. He said, I thought you'd tell me something to write about art. He said, you write about Kathakali. Today at 8 o'clock there is a performance at such a place, and I want it by 9:15. In my life, I had never really seen Kathakali.
And that too Kathakali. I think it's one of the most complicated forms of classical dance.
And I've never in my life really seen it that way. But I did sit down and I went early, went backstage, made notes, made a drawing also. That's the beginning of my this thing. And later on I shifted to other newspapers also. But that was a very strange and interesting beginning in a way. That somebody, this is a series of faith. People put faith in it. Even when I was at the height of my art career, and I had written my first novel, towards it. And suddenly, I did not expect that I had switched careers at the age of 43, 44. Now that's a very risky age that you change career from
it's a huge challenge.
Art professor to writer, and I changed careers at that age. And my first book I did not expect, and suddenly it was all over the world, and then it was in 3 months translated into French, and suddenly all over the world I was known as the Indian Jewish writer. That's.
But I think when we're talking about writing, like my wife, Anita, she always says, what is very good about reading Esther's book is that I think anybody can read it, and the language is so beautiful, it is simple, it is beautiful, and it flows. So for everybody, whoever takes that book would not put the book down till they finish the thing, because it's a very easy reading and a very nice.
I like to keep things simple, whatever I do. But I'll end your this question with one word, that because much before everybody in our old house in Delhi, there was a where we lived as a joint family. I was the youngest, 40. family. I think I used to read from the library. They had a huge library. I used to read a lot of that book.
Okay.
So maybe his being an artist and a writer has been a sort of a role model in my life, without being totally conscious. And it's just an accident that Professor Shankar Chaudhary interested me with this when I was in Delhi, and I met the Penguin publishers for no reason. Just I was there for a gift performance, and they were there on the day. I thought that this was, and they knew all about the first novel, The Wall City, and they said, "Would you write a mega novel for us?" And by the next morning,
you already had that. Wow. So there's always this question, because a lot of people they wonder, who are the Beni Israel Jewish community, and can you talk to us how this community reached India and its heritage?
Okay. It's a question I've asked all the time. Let me tell you, Vijay, that you, my family, and you also, and we were not really religious. And because my father believed in Darwin.
Both Reuben David and Sarah?
She followed him, but Reuben David, they believed in Darwin.
Wow, okay.
So there the question of being woman and or ape or Jew was all diluted. Although they had both been brought up as religious Jews, they had religious trait. But somehow by the time I was growing up, there was nothing. There was just one mezuzah, which is a mask that we wrote that we do. It's still there. So that's all there was, and there was no. My grandmother, she would make some
insights.
My uncle's family, everything makes some. So I knew that I was Jewish. I had to fill up a form. So I used to write Beni Israel Jew, and I said, "What is that spelling?" That was the way it used to work. Eventually, actually, I left art for literature because it was a cross-cultural conflict. I wanted to know who I was. I was a Jew. My name is Esther, a very biblical name. So I had to understand. So I studied eventually. Now I have researched a lot. It's about more than 2,000 years back in Israel. They're known as Beni Israel. Means children of Israel.
Okay.
It's Hebrew word.
Right.
Beni Israel Jews. So they were living in Israel, and there was a persecution of the Greek followed who wanted to take over everything, the temple, this, that. So they they took a ship and started fleeing from the persecutors.
Okay.
And in a ship, suddenly there was a storm, and they landed somewhere near Alibag, near Bombay.
Right, in Maharashtra.
In Maharashtra, on the coastal region, Navgaon. Navgaon is the place.
Right.
And that's where the ship went down. And then some of them came on the shore. There's a huge monument to this.
Right.
But we cannot dig up, it's a huge grave with all the people who had died and who had survived.
Okay.
So they have buried them. So now what happened that after the shipwreck created a problem. That they were traveling with their books, means Torahs.
Oh, okay.
We have Torahs, our religious books.
Yes.
So our religious books went into the sea. So we had no documents. Till about say 1800 and something, there were no documents to prove that we are Jews. The only thing was that our names are Jewish. But that also, when they are pronounced in a Konkani, Maharashtrian way, they sound very different. And then what they did, they became oil pressers and farmers.
Okay.
And they were growing, oil pressers, rice, supari, and things like that. And they were very close to Shivaji's Janjira. My village area was near Shivaji's Janjira fort.
Okay.
So, but then we were spread in all the villages. So what we did, we didn't want persecution all over again. So what we did was that with our biblical names, whichever village we had adopted us, and where we lived and where we worked, we used it as a last name.
Correct. Okay.
So we have very Indian sounding names also. We suppose myself, my family used to live in a village called Tanda. And so I am Esther David. I don't use it.
Right.
Like somebody's from Pratibimb, so they use Pratibimb girl. Somebody's from Avas, they use Avas girls. So that's how we have. So when somebody meets us, they are confused, you know. These are not Christians, these are not Parsis, these sound like that. Who are they? But we are basically Jews. It's only in the British and the Dutch, the British Raj, and with the Dutch help, that they were identified, our ancestors were identified as Jews because they would stop working from Friday evening to Saturday evening, the Shabbos. So they were known in Marathi as Shanvateli, means the Saturday oil people. That's how they started a religious education, and we came to be known as Bnei Israel Jews. Till then we were doing an oral tradition and preserving everything and believing in proper religion. And then when we were taught everything, most books, prayer books, because we could not speak English or this or that or Hebrew, so we were translated into Marathi. But today, everybody speaks all languages, they are highly educated, they also speak Hebrew, they say their prayers in Hebrew. I say my prayers in English. So, but it started this.
And so, the rest of India, wherever there are communities of Jews, they all branched out from Alibag itself,
no.
They also came at some period of time from different.
Each has a different story.
It's not
Let's say the Cochin Jews,
yes,
they are connected with King Solomon coming to trade.
Oh, okay.
And there are some Tamil words in the Bible which are written for monkey, peacock, goat. Yeah. And they came during that time, but they came in batches. So then there was a Portuguese time, there was this time, there was that time, and then the highest peak was the Spanish. The Jews of Spain, which are known as you know, the Burgesses everybody. So then there is the Calcutta Jews. They came somewhere in 1800. They came from Baghdad, Iraq side, Middle East, and they first settled in Surat.
Oh, okay.
And they first settled in Surat. There was a graveyard which has been demolished, and then they moved to Bombay. But even there, the Sassoons became the biggest philanthropists, and then they moved to Calcutta. Then there is a third, which is part of my study also. These are Bnei Ephraim Jews, which are in Andhra Pradesh.
Okay.
So there were Telugu Jews also. They speak Telugu. Like we speak Marathi.
Yes.
Malayalam.
Yeah, they adapted to the local
Bengali
language.
by Baghdadi. Baghdadi Jews speak Bengali also.
Okay.
And then the other one is the northeast. Mizoram and
Oh, even there is a
yes, huge combination.
That's great.
But they are all come at different times at different stages. Each has a story.
Right.
But ours is now the biggest community because most Jews are immigrated either to Israel or other Western countries.
Okay. Now you talked about how people came to different parts of India and all that. How did you land up in Ahmedabad? That is your parents.
Yeah, I'll tell you. You see, from Dhaka, 1857, with the British Raj, my family, they were all doctors.
Okay.
So they were all employed in the British Army during the British Raj. So after they were educated, from Alibag to Bombay, got educated, they moved to so they are educated that way. And then when the British Raj decided to come and make a casino in Gujarat, the whole family decided to come together.
Okay.
And
Which year was that?
1857.
So,
And there, it was in Delhi, there was the old family house is still there.
okay.
And that's how they settled Ahmedabad as doctors. Only one in my family later on, that's my father.
I'm getting to that.
Veterinary doctor. But it was a matter of, and my grandfather, David David, he, that's his name, we keep him almost.
Yes, David.
They're all Davids. That's my grandfather's name. So he was very close to Balganath, and he made it to Balganath. And he was very much into this. But they were not philanthropic doctors. Eventually they left jobs with the British and they started philanthropic hospitals and clinics in Ahmedabad, in Ahmedabad and Paris.
Ruben, David and Sarah, can you speak a little about your childhood memories?
You see, basically, something, you see, I can tell you one thing. A lot of people tell me that I'm different. It's normal and natural that I'm different. But when I was born, it was very clear. Before that, he was a hunter with the royal families. Because he was three things he was very good at. And his elder brother, Jacob, was a big driving force. He believed in his younger brother. Jacob believed in his. And he said, no, what if he has something unusual? So the first thing my father was very good was dogs. And they were healers basically.
Okay.
Healers. Whether human beings, animal, anything. So the whole house was birds and animals. And because my father was not interested in studies, he was looking after the birds and animals. You can't believe I have a photograph of Delhi as a child, which is nothing what we see today. It had a huge garden and a lot of cages and a lot of birds, animals, dogs and everything. Stories and father was very young. So eventually he was very good at animals, but then he took to dogs. And it is said that any dog who was grounded, if you take it to Ruben David, it revives, comes back to life. And he could make canaries sing, and he could look after any bird. He could understand, talk like that. I mean, there's.
Oh yes, there's a huge collection of his talking to birds.
I have a CD.
Yes.
So this way he became very sort of became known in this area. But then basically everybody was worried that he's a young man and not doing anything to track animals. So all the royal families of Gujarat were, the whole Delhi Darwaza used to be clogged with jeeps and cars of royal families and all. I still have a photograph with these turbans and dresses and all coming. And father, even from those days, used to wear shikari dress, safari dress.
Yes.
Like an army.
Yes.
Brigadier dress, which he continued. So he became suddenly well known, and he had an eye. And he could sense, and he understood the forest. Now he had no training in zoology, forestry, nothing, but he had it. Eventually, yes, there were 2-3 incidents where he felt that it was not correct to hunt and to shoot animals. So he left, and he sort of gave away all his arms to Roman. Just kept an air gun to frighten the natives.
Ruben David, at that time, he got the Padma Shri for the amazing work that he did, and he was also known, I think, for the maximum number of breeding in captivity and also albinos, because it's an amazing thing that he's gifted Ahmedabad and gone. Hope the people in Ahmedabad value that.
To walk into the cages of lions.
Yes.
Full grown.
Yes.
Full grown lions.
Full grown lions is brought up.
And experiments in coexistence.
Yes.
Which was like an example for everybody.
I remember that because because I was too small and I was not allowed, but my brother and mummy and all were allowed. Where he had brought up a lion cub with a dog. Yes.
Mountain Tommy.
And then he used to be with the.
And the tiger was Raju.
Yes.
Mountain Tommy, black. Raju with Asesha and
I think the tiger, that's the same one on your in the book, yes. And also the chimpanzee, which was there.
Emily and like.
It was.
And, but you know, the whole thing was at home, all the names were given.
It was a golden era.
I mean, after he came home, we discussed about enjoy with good music, this, that, good food, everything. And also discuss what animals would be named and what they. And he had this amazing man called Babu as a right hand man. But one thing I would like to add here. That each and every single tree there, like say 2,000 trees were planted by him.
And what about your Baroda days? Of course, you spoke about your studying there and all that. But sculpture is something that you specialized in eventually?
I was more fascinated by the guru, the idea of a guru. I would say that it all, my sculpture thing stems basically. Now see, first of all, I never thought how I'm going to survive as a professional and make a living as a sculptor. It was zero. I mean, if you go to see, today no. Today there are what you call galleries,
yes.
There are
many
people and there are sellers and there are buyers and everything.
A lot of avenues for this. Correct.
There's nobody.
It was just hard work and nothing else.
But the only big thing that I have done, I'll tell you, that and why I left also I'll tell you, is that I was one of the first few women. But my main aim was not the sculpture. It's the guru. As I told you that in the same way I used to run out to the library. So I used to convince wherever I was teaching sculpture, that listen, my strong point is history and art appreciation. So from I would get into sculpture and I would take up to teaching theory subjects. But I would like to mention what in a little differently in this context. That for me also I have very fond memories of Mahendra Pandya sculpture.
Yes.
In pink marble. And
it was very nice.
And we used to have some conversations. And history of art, Dr. Ratan Karimo.
Yes.
Although I feel I have learned a lot from him, and he was very kind and very gentle.
And Esther, you have written 10 wonderful books. Am I right? Is it 10 or is it more? But I mean mainly books, but otherwise many other writings.
Novels.
Yeah, published 10.
And then some other books and co-author and this and that. Yes. Conferences, this, that, a lot happening.
Of these, which was the most challenging? If you want to pick one out of that and talk about it, which would be?
I think Book of Esther.
Okay.
Which was the most difficult because at a very young age, I would say, all I had my grandmother's stories and observing the family. That's all, nothing else. So what I did was something very, very difficult for me. There were two challenges, and I had only 1.5 years.
Okay, there was a time limit to it.
Yes, and 500 pages. So it is one of my most difficult books in that context because it stands from, say, I take the time of Tipu Sultan. So it may go around a little ahead also because Tipu Sultan was the one who had also allowed the Jews to go away when he had captured the British and he wanted to kill the British soldiers. But his mother told him that there is a small group there in the soldiers who don't eat or drink from Friday evening to Saturday. So she called somebody and she said Hafiz, and she said that maybe they are Banu Israel, and he let him go. So I have taken one ancestor of mine from there, slightly imaginary, and made him travel backwards to Ahmedabad, where his wife was Shiva. My grandmother's name was Shiva. So what Shiva is waiting for me. That's how I. Now, how do I collect the whole family tree? Nobody had any concept. No? Everybody had a habit. Behind the diary, there was birthdays of everybody, but nothing really.
And not many of them must have been surviving also. No, none of them not been there.
On the dining table, in my uncle's house, my father, when the family got together, they had a habit of talking about everybody, A to Z. Those here, those not here, those up. All three. So, here's this little young, that time I was young, I was listening. It stayed. So, grandmothers think stories which stayed. You see. Then what I did was, we have at the synagogue what you call a person who leads the group.
Right.
Now in our community we don't have a rabbi at the moment.
Okay.
So anybody who is an elder, who is well versed in or the Torah, chief leader, we call him Hazan, but he likes to be, his name is Johnny, Joseph Samuel King, Johnny Five.
Okay.
So he said every day we come at 2 o'clock. So now it was summer.
The best season to go around.
April to July. Every thrice a week, 2 o'clock, without water. And I would go and sit and he would start teaching me. Then I realized that I still didn't know so much. And I didn't understand Marathi. Our community speaks Marathi. So I couldn't speak Marathi. I could do Gujarati, totally Gujarati. So I had to. Then I went to the graveyard and I wrote down the names of all the ancestors.
Okay.
Still, when my book was over, 500 words, and editing it, I said, but this is very Gujarati. It's not Alibag. It's not Maharashtra. So, there's a family in Alibag whose daughter is married in Ahmedabad. So, before leaving Johnny White, he told me, you meet her. I landed there and I started investing. I kept on going for 2-3 years.
Okay.
1.5 years. Continuously, as long as I was in the and again the graveyard, again. So I came back and rewrote, and that's. But during that period, I discovered Elijah, whose blog. There's a poster also to this. He arrives from Haifa. He's going over to heaven. Actually, in his chariot with white stallions. Very fantastic.
But that's your creation, right?
Mine. But there is a poster with the Israel.
Oh, it is there?
He stopped in Alibag. And that's why on that rock,
The wheel mark and the
wheel marks and no marks. And our ancestors said we should worship because we should not go into idol worship. So you say you believe in a rock. So that's how, for me,
because it also talks about the divinity and the touch.
Yeah, the touch. The touch of God.
Correct.
When I wrote Shalom India Housing Society, others have realized research institutes. They put me on their calendar as the 12 best known Jewish.
Oh wow, great.
So that's how, what you say, becomes known. And then they gave me sort of research, they gave me some awards. That I started working. And I came across that we, let's say, in the rest of my books, you'll find that I'm trying to preserve the heritage of architecture, culture, tradition, everything. But in this, I also realized through this journey through India that we also need to preserve our heritage of food. It's like too much of utilization of regional interests. So we have almost forgotten
Lost
our
the
Jewish dietary law, which is constitutional. And there are a lot of recipes which we don't make. But on some festivals we make. So that's where
it's forgotten now.
Almost forgotten. That's where Julie Bingley came.
You are a youth icon and people love your writing. what would be your advice to young aspirants?
Mr. when you tell me now, it always comes to me as a surprise. But it always surprises wherever I am. The way people come to me and they want to read this. It's very interesting that today in the world of literature and net and that people are still interested in the writer, in an author, in a novelist. And so many want to
and actually taking a book and reading it.
And feeling, even it could be a very higher person, it could be a child or it could be a person. Like say, not that, as you said,
H.
So it comes as a very interesting surprise, which I like to. I mean, I'm not saying out of naivety. I like it that I feel surprised. Okay.
No, also you feel grateful that but what you're doing is right and people are liking it.
I'll tell you one thing, another thing that my father taught, I think, is not to feel so proud about what we have achieved. We are enjoying it. That you're happy with what I've done, so I'm happy.
And that's why you're able to sustain it.
Yes.
Because the moment you start doing that, you're not able to sustain it.
Because see, I'm not a very socially visible person. Because I write. I know one thing, Vijay. I give my utmost, like my guru, I give my utmost energy to the student and try to understand who is the student. If the student has this good point, then I help that person to develop it.
Right.
So even if I've taught for 2 months, they don't forget me. To evolve.
Yes.
Please, I would tell the young people to open your mind, take that and grow upon it or discuss it and work around it and become good artists.
Great. You'll become a
or
much
writers,
better
or whatever you want to.
artist.
Whether it's novelist, artist, but basically I'm an artist. I'm an artist of words, I'm an artist of form. I'm an artist of this, I'm an artist. Even the way I think, art is part of me. It's my soul.
It is my pleasure to present the Jane and Stuart Weitzman Family Award for Food Writing and Cookbooks to Esther David for Bon Appetit, the Cuisine of Indian Jews. Her work documents the rituals and food of India's diverse Jewish communities and is a travelogue with recipes. Esther, I have spent many wonderful times with the B'nai Israel and other Jewish communities on my visits to India with JDC. Reading your book brought back memories of gracious people and delicious food. Kol hakavod.
Thank you so much. When I started, I've been writing novels about the Indian Jewish experience of living in India. And through all these years, I had never really decided to write a cookbook. But I saw that in a country where everything is overpowering, as you know, whether it's sort of the crowds, the temples, the different religions, the different communities, the food, and still we are 5,000 Jews in India in 5 regions. And it was very important for me to know as to how do we preserve the sort of the dietary law. Although everything looks very Indian, we look very Indian, and yet we have managed through all these years to preserve our rites, rituals, and every particular sort of dietary law in a perfect way. Often we have, as nothing is available off the rack, our women make things themselves. But slowly with time, we seem to be forgetting that sort of what was traditionally made, and also because it's not so easy anymore. So I traveled all over India, from Western India to Cochin in South India, Andhra Pradesh, West Bengal, Calcutta, and Northeast, that is Mizoram and Manipur. And all the five, although regionally they had different languages, different foods, but they kept the dietary law where coconut milk is like a nectar. And I thank you very much for having given me this, for the Jewish Book Council, this award. It's not only for me, but all the five communities and the Indian Jews. The award is for everybody because they helped me and they cooperated in writing so that I could write this book. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Esther, for this wonderful session. But this was something that I was looking forward to. And of course, 5 decades of knowing you, but we've never sat like this ever and done a conversation like this. And this is something that we're going to treasure, and I'm sure students of the college also, they will appreciate all this, and it is going to give them some insight also as we keep showcasing various artists. So once again, thank you very much.